Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Barrens Chat Podcast. I'm Sada. With me tonight is my co-host, Guck. This is a podcast about World of Warcraft by two guys who play it. Guck, here we are. We were going to record this yesterday, but we are here. We are 1 hour and 2 minutes before the launch of Shadowlands. Enormous amounts of excitement. Orgrimmar is loaded with people. I imagine Stormwind is too. What are you feeling right now? How's your excitement level?
My excitement level has never been higher. Right now, I am at absolute peak hype. We're all sitting in Org just having a floating party, looking at Grommash Hold and just waiting for the moment that Shadowlands starts. I have been this whole week kind of scouring the internet, finding those subtle changes that they're putting in, and really just getting ready IRL. I've got all of the groceries in. I've got meals prepped, ready to eat in the fridge. I've got snacks. I've got water. Everything is done. The dogs are taken care of. Everything is squared away. It's just a matter of time. One of the big changes that we saw this week coming up, there's a lot of things that you're going to want to do. Obviously, you're getting in and you're leveling first and foremost. It's not going to be a huge rush. The weekly reset stuff that you may be rushing to get into, your Mythic Zero clears, those are the big ones that I'm thinking about, but there are others. Those won't be available until the first reset. So tonight, when you go through and level, I guess when you guys listen to this, it'll be last night. You don't have the option to go and do the weekly reset stuff. So you might as well take your time. And then with Torghast, a big change with this, we're only getting 3 layers. So instead of running 9 Torghast runs for probably, 10 plus hours, we're going to have 4 Torghast runs. You'll do 1 cell block up to the 3rd layer, so 1, 2, and 3, and then the second cell block you'll run at layer 3, and then boom, you'll be maxed out for your Soul Ash this week. And the Renown, all that stuff comes later on. It's not a huge rush unless you're trying to get ahead of the pack in the zones, and that's what we're going to see a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think my excitement's so high. I planned on taking a nap when I got home, but the BFA launch, I couldn't sleep. So here I am. I'm awake. It's definitely going to hinder me. It's going to slow me down a little bit because I'm going to go to bed earlier than I planned on. I'm still working tomorrow. I do have school tomorrow night. So I'm grateful that the rush isn't that big of a deal right now. I do have a 4-day weekend this weekend. Obviously, American Thanksgiving. I'm going to be spending time with my family. And, stuff like that, but it's comforting that this is way less grindy than it has been in the past. And, I've been consuming all kinds of content, seeing what I need to get done in the first week. It looks like everything has stayed pretty much the same. I think my Covenant swapped again. They did another late change today to classes and Covenants. So definitely everybody keep an eye on that. But the excitement's there. I mean, we have I think 30 or 40 people online in the guild right now. Everybody's motivated. Everybody's ready to go. We've been having a lot of community nights in our Discord lately. I was getting harassed on Discord earlier today because I was at work, obviously, and my daughter plays Roblox on my computer, and Discord was telling everybody that I was playing Roblox, so I was getting harassed for that.
I love how you're making this point, but you're saying it, and it makes me feel like you were probably at home playing Roblox. I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, it's definitely get it. The guild is coming together. The camaraderie's there. I mean, everybody is excited. Discord's popping off. We're in it. This is it. It's here.
It's a super exciting time. And Saad, what you mentioned is really big. For those of you who already had planned out Covenant choices, you need to re-inform those choices today and throughout the week. Before you choose a Covenant, make sure that the changes that they put in recently haven't changed the best Covenant for you. If you're not min-maxing your Covenant, then there probably haven't been any changes, right? You're probably still going to like the Covenant that you like. But for those of us min-maxing, trying to really improve our player power, definitely go in and check on your Covenant. That's going to be huge. That may have changed. Likely, if you were going Kyrian, you want to make sure that those Kyrian nerfs, either if they did turn it over, what's your new Covenant? Or if they didn't turn it over, you want to be confident that Kyrian is still the best pick for you. Yeah, dude, this is a hectic, exciting time, but I kind of like the changes that they put in. I was essentially ready to get going as fast as possible tonight in an effort to go and do a world tour of Mythic Zeros, and that would have been excessive. I'm also ready to go into Torghast and do those 9 runs. If I had access to all 8 layers, I was going to do it. So I do think this was wise of Blizzard to limit us, because I would have done it, and I know a lot of other people would have done it. And sure, you might say it artificially prolongs the expansion by artificially time gating some content, but honestly, I'm not really that offended by this. I think this is a fine thing to do, whether or not they are artificially stretching the patches and the content. I am okay with that. I want the game to last longer. I like, actually, that we're getting less gear. Our progression isn't going to be how many world quests can you do every day to stack up your AP. It's going to be how much gear do you have. It's going back to the idea of, like, I play things to gear my character to get stronger, and that player progression system is what I like, and I'm glad that that's what we're returning to.
Yeah, and it's less of how many hours can you put into the game as opposed to like the quality of the hours. I do like I guess you could call it throttling of Mythic Zeros. I like it personally as somebody who has a job and responsibilities to go to tomorrow. It's not going to hinder me. Like, where I will fall just slightly behind will be with the Stygia and the Maw rep, because that is a daily, so I actually might miss the Maw tomorrow, but that's okay. It's just one day. Hopefully it's not the end of the world. I think it'll be fine. Maybe I'll miss a gem slot in like 3 weeks. I'll be like half a gem slot behind somebody. Who knows? But overall, this is like probably, I think, the best change that they've made to WoW, that it's not a part-time to full-time job to maintain a couple of characters to be raid ready and squared away. I think that's my favorite change. I do like that there is limited gear. I think that's also one of the best changes. I do, we've talked about it on here. There's too much gear. There has been in the past. It's way too easy to come by. It's borderline a joke. Like, you outgear the Mythic raid before you even set foot like 4 or 5 bosses in, if you're not one of those cutting edge guilds or Hall of Fame guilds. So this is excellent going into the expansion. This is really good stuff. Really pumped up about this. We've been basically thirsting over this expansion since it was announced. Guck and I we're going in totally fresh, totally new. We are probably the only podcast that has no beta experience in this game. So like it is our first time venturing through the Maw, going into Bastion and to Maldraxxus. I would expect, hopefully I'll end up in Ardenweald before I go to bed tonight, but with, server lag and the crowded areas, who knows? But it's like, this is our first time seeing this content, and I could not be more thrilled to looking forward to what is in store for us.
Yeah, and that's true. We are one of the few podcasts that really didn't get access to beta. I don't think Blizzard knows we exist, and if they do, they don't want to talk to us, because we've tried to reach out to some community managers, but we get nothing. There was no traction even during Classic, when the podcast was kind of at a peak, and when attention to WoW podcasts were at a peak, because just Classic had a wealth of eyes on Blizzard and Blizzard content. Hopefully we see the same thing here with Shadowlands. Maybe this is our expansion slot. Maybe this is what we needed to get our foot in the door and hopefully get some traction and move forward. But yeah, this will be a fresh experience for us. We're going to go through zones that we have never been in. We are going to talk to NPCs we've never heard from, dungeons we've never run. I'm excited for all of it. Honestly, I'm glad. A part of me is glad that this is going to be a fresh new experience for me, and that I didn't, already go through it in beta versions, because this should be the best version of this experience. But what I lack in experience, I'm hoping I make up for in preparation, right? I have a loaded inventory. I know you have a loaded inventory. Goblin gliders, bear tartar, gun shoes. We've got some old BFA food, flasks, health pots. We've got all of the things that we're going to really need to rush through leveling. And I think that speed will help us kind of stay on par with those who have the experience, and then that will put us pretty comfortably in front of the pack.
Yep, and as an update, in Azeroth, Lorthmar has just disappeared on top of Orgrimmar. I had my group confirm it. He is not there. He could be kidnapped by the jailer right now. We're unsure. Conflicting reports coming in. So, I'm prepared. I'm prepared 100%. Obviously, you and I did over preparation. I had to get rid of some stuff. The draft of 10 lands, which is no longer effective after level 49. I was going to use that from level 50 to 51. Not working out. That's fine. The over preparation is a good thing. I have plenty of flasks, plenty of pots. I have health stones. I'm a warlock. I'm going to soul stone a couple people in my group. I have my 3 cloaks to port me back to Orgrimmar. I have Azeroth autopilot running. I mean, my preparation is spot on. I'm ready to go. The only thing I don't know is the story, and I'm running Azeroth autopilot to skip the story. Now, I'm going to go through the story on probably my second or third character. I am into the lore, but this first character is strictly about speed. I am Lightning McQueen out there, just trying to go as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah, that's the thing. We got to go fast. Got to go fast. Sonic speed, dude. Oh, man, it's exciting because that's really what it is. Today, for us, which is Monday, right? You guys will be listening to this on Tuesday. And again, it might be the same thing for you guys on Tuesday. It's all about leveling. It's getting your tune ready, getting through up to max level, experiencing the covenants, experiencing the new zones, going through and the things that I love about WoW that they always do well. Just the zone art, the textures, the animations, the new, kits that these rigs or whatever the animations are based on, the sound, the ambiance and the music, all of these elements of Shadowlands that the art team always does super well. Those are right around the corner. I'm excited to experience all of it for the first time. It's going to be great. What are some of the things that you are worried about going into leveling?
I'm definitely worried about the server stability, specifically in 50 minutes when the quest goes live and everybody is clicking on the same thing. That is always a concern. It wasn't too bad at the start of BFA. We definitely experienced a pretty significant amount of lag. Some people got out of the heart of Azeroth faster than others. I was fortunate. I got out of there pretty quick, and I got ahead of the pack. Whether or not that's definitely going to be an issue. I don't think it's possible to have this many people online and not have server stability issues. I think that's just the name of the game. It's something that we've all experienced on these launch events before, not just for WoW, but for all kinds of other games that have had issues. It will be an issue. I hope everybody can, get their game time in that they want to get in. I hope it doesn't affect people negatively. That 100% will be an issue. My goal is to get ahead of the pack. I know I'm not going to get a server first level 60 or anything like that, but I like to kind of get competitive with it. So at an hour or two in, I'll slash who people that are a level above me and just see, how many people are cruising past me. And it's usually a handful, and it makes me feel pretty good about myself that I'm in an upper echelon of player that's leveling pretty quick. And it's also nice because you're not competing for quest mobs or loot or anything like that going forward. I am concerned about war mode because my group is running war mode. Obviously, we can turn it off, but nobody wants to get hindered like that in war mode. Obviously, the extra experience is worth the risk for us, at least right now. And if we need to, we'll turn it off. Right now, those are my only two main concerns. I am going to, be farming professions. I'm going to pick those up before I leave Oribos for the first time. But that's really all I'm concerned about tonight. Hopefully, I can get far enough into the leveling experience. But I think, just getting ahead of the pack and staying ahead of the pack and the server issues are definitely the two biggest deals. And war mode, of course. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think starting with war mode on is the best bet because we can always turn it off in and in. You don't have to go to the capital city to turn it off. You have to go there to turn it on. So starting with it on and then going through until you hit a snag, until PvP starts, until something is the issue. Then you can go to an inn and just turn it off and then go back to leveling. So I would say it's the safe bet to go. Hopefully it lasts a while until it starts to be an impediment. And again, this is why it's important to get ahead of the pack, because the fewer people around means there's probably fewer of the opposite faction, and war mode becomes that much more favorable. And then with server stability, that is going to be massive, because what we're going to see is something very similar to the start of BFA. Everyone is going to want to talk to someone to get into a scenario. And then we all have to run through this Maw scenario with Jaina and Thrall and all these NPCs kind of walking us through the Maw. But to get that started is going to rely on the bottleneck of the server. After that point, you're just kind of going through the Maw. And depending on how fast you can go, that will put you ahead of the pack afterwards. But I expect going into that scenario and phasing out of that scenario will be major bottlenecks. And I'm hoping that we see after that point just smooth sailing. That's how it was in BFA. Once we got out of Silithus, everything was smooth sailing in BFA. Vol'dun was fine. Well, we had war mode, but we didn't have the two factions on the same route. So, we're going to see a lot of similarities and a lot of differences. So I'm really curious to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah, and also, too, in the Battle for Azeroth launch, you got to pick which of the 3 zones you wanted to start in, depending on your faction. So I went to Vol'dun. There wasn't too much traffic in there. There was certainly some people, but we got ahead of the pack, and we stayed ahead of the pack. And, it worked out to our favor. We could keep going at a pace that we wanted to. And I did go to bed after Vol'dun, but it was, I was far enough ahead that I was happy about it. And this is certainly going to be something that happens in Shadowlands. I guess it just depends on how lucky you're going to be with the server latency issues when you're clicking your quest turn-ins today.
Yeah, and again, I hope we see what Blizzard, I don't know if they use the term aggressive sharding, but I would be totally fine to see aggressive sharding. I don't want to have to fight over mob tags, and that's going to be a lot of this. Make sure that your scroll wheel keybinds or whatever is your most convenient keybind is bound to some ranged ability that you can tag as far away as possible. I'm going to be leveling my monk first, so my lightning, my like force lightning, the jade lightning spell is going to be my most spammed ability. I will just be tagging things left and right with that. So I hope that we have really aggressive sharding. I hope we don't have to deal with a ton of overlap because, it's going to be crazy. All of us in the same zone, everyone from both factions in the same zone, as opposed to, 2 factions in 2 different zones, largely 2 different zones. We all kind of, Horde Alliance went to the one fastest zone first, but for those of us that didn't go to that fastest zone, we weren't all forced to go to that. So BFA after Silithus had a lot of options, and it wouldn't really require that kind of aggressive sharding. This definitely will. So we're gonna see very shortly whether this is a massive problem or not.
Yeah, and one thing that's interesting right now, if you look around org, it is all people that are specifically on our server. So I wonder if they're going to limit the amount of other servers that you see. Like maybe you'll only see people on a different server if they're grouped with somebody on your server. I think that might be one way to do it. I would still expect, we are on one of the largest servers in North America, so I would still imagine that we probably want to have sharding on the servers specifically, but maybe that will help with the war mode situation. So as long as you're, on one of those faction dominant servers like we're on, you'll be okay. That's just me thinking.
Yeah, I think you're right. I hope we do see like a return to kind of the classic mentality. Why not? Why not for a few weeks everyone that you see is on your server, right? Those are the people you may want to guild with. Those are the people you may want to content with later. That's a good thing. The fact that we can group up with someone on a different server is great, but I like the idea that only people on my server are the people I see when I'm out there leveling, when I'm out there in the open world. I like that.
Yeah, I think It's something retail has lost, and I think it would be nice to get something like that back. It was kind of like that in Legion, like if you remember, you still saw other servers, but for the most part, it seemed like you were kind of stuck to your own server, right? Like we didn't see any alliance when we were on the Broken Shore zones.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. So I like that. I think that system is good. You're able to see someone first. Like, let's say you and another guy just randomly group for a quest for a rare or something, and he helps you out, and you're like, awesome, this guy's great. And you go your separate ways, and you never see this other person again. And then later on, you run into them again. Those moments only happen when you have kind of a consistent population on whatever you're on, whether it's your server, your shard, whatever. So having more opportunities for that is a good thing. This is an MMO. This is a social game. That stuff is you can call it important. I would say it's a unique facet of an MMO that you can't get anywhere else. So you should kind of support it.
Yep, for sure. And honestly, too, like, not to tout the podcast name, but general chat during an expansion launch event can get very similar to Barrens chat because there's a lot of people in the zone. They're running around questing. It can get tedious. So a lot of people, like to chat. I think that's also one of the more underrated things. You don't see that much in retail unless it's like, Alliance or ganking or Horde or ganking. It is nice to see people chatting and enjoying themselves in general chat, even if they're just linking one of the rare mounts that just dropped, like what's going on in BFA when people got the hyenas early. It's cool. It's a great night to be on. Everybody's excited. Twitter was blowing up today. The WoW forums were blowing up today. Reddit was blowing up today. All the YouTubers are excited. Streamers are on and they're going wild. There's people racing for the World First 60 and it's a worldwide launch event. So there's no advantage for anybody in Europe or in North America. So this is it. This is the best night to play WoW, and I'm so pumped to be a part of it.
Well, the differences that exist are only in what natural time it is in your setting. Australians right now, they're getting a launch at like 10 a.m. So if they took the day off, they get the entire day to level without even staying up late. Us in NA, we have to stay up late if we want to do that. So there are some differences that we'll see, but for those hardcore speed levelers, yeah, it's just like the expansion releases and the stopwatches start and you go, and then we're going to see a wealth of people. I have my money on Desmephisto. He's just like the celebrity speed leveler that most people think about. So I'm excited to see either him clinch a win, get the World First 60, or someone else, an underdog, someone who gets a little bit of recognition from, actually dethroning the king of speed leveling right now.
Yeah, and I think some of the Echo guys are competing too, so it'll be interesting to see some of the tricks they have up their sleeve. Definitely pulling for Desmephisto. He's somebody whose stream I tune into a lot, and he's, constantly trying to do things better and faster, and I think that's one of the cooler parts about his stream. If you watch it, he is consistently trying to break his own world record or somebody else's world record. And he's a very positive stream, very positive mindset. He's a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to see play. There's all kinds of streamers that are streaming tonight, and they're all fun to watch. So everybody get out there, check out your favorite streamer, or watch Netflix, whatever you want to do while you're leveling. I mean, this is it. It's here.
The other cool thing with Desmephisto is his work he's putting in for the community. He's a major contributor on Azeroth Autopilot, something that I know a majority of our guild is using today. And a lot of the other speed levelers, when it comes to this sort of thing, it's kind of competitive for them. And they're not really sharing those strats, and they're not posting it on YouTube because they want to keep that information for themselves until they can actually use it to get a really fast level 60. I hope that Desmephisto clinches the World First 60 because he's helped us all level faster, and I would love to see him get some, essentially global recognition for being a efficient leveler. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, I do too. And he does a great job. He does a lot of charity events. He's really good for the community, and I do hope that he pulls it through. It really, if he gets through the bottleneck, I'm sure it'll be him, but there is that is he going to get lucky or not?
Yeah. Man, this is an exciting time. There's not a ton of stuff for us to talk about today. Obviously, what you want to do if you are getting on to play Shadowlands, you want to make sure that the most recent Covenant changes haven't changed the Covenant that you want to play, and make an informed decision about the Covenant that you want to play. And then, the rest of the week is essentially not as big of a rush as it seemed before. You don't have to rush to on Monday night or even Tuesday night. You have the whole week to do it. You have to run 4 Torghast runs, you have to get your Renown up to 4, and you have to clear 8 Mythic Zeros, which are 2 fewer than we had at the launch of BFA. So I think really, it's going to be a very casual, friendly start experience. If you aren't so concerned with the pack itself, get behind the pack. If you're not going to get ahead of the pack, go behind it. Wait until everyone clears out, and then there's not a lot of competition for your area. Bank some rested experience. I think that Blizzard has done a good job of curtailing some of the really sweaty, degenerate things that people like me were going to do, and allowing people like Sod, who has a more legitimate schedule with a life and a job and a family, to still compete. And by the end of the first week, you will have gotten done everything that I got done, with a significant lower amount of sweat.
Yeah, and I think, as much as I've hated on throttling on this podcast, I do think that this is a good decision, right? I think a lot of people can probably get behind this decision, and I think they've done a really good job with this launch. I know they've done a lot of last minute nerfs, a lot of changes to the leveling systems over the past couple days, like making things not work and stuff like that. But it's definitely okay to be upset about that if you did your preparation and you were ready for it. But I think overall it's gone well, and I'm really excited to see these zones and to go through them and to level and to play the dungeons and start getting some loot.
Yeah, dog. That's it. I think that's it. Anything else you want to add before we close the episode?
No. Everybody enjoy yourselves.
Yes, yeah. Play responsibly. Don't get too sweaty. You actually don't have to, and you don't stand to benefit too much. And I know I'm saying that right before I get incredibly sweaty, so, take that as you will. But anyways, as always, thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate the listens. Check us out on our website, baronschat.podbean.com. Hit us up on Twitter, @BarrensChatPod, @SadiLOL, or @GuckyMan. All of our other contact info's on the website, and we will see you on the next one.